Hi, Dan. How are you today?
Great, Jordana. How have you been? All right?
I am doing well. We're in our first Sunday of February, which means...
Well, it's time to enjoy Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it happened to fall on a Sunday, which I think is quite unusual. Usually it's during the week, but I guess it changes up every year.
February 2nd is Groundhog Day, and there are many groundhogs that we have to look for weather predictions. The most famous is Punxsutawney Phil in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. And we've been to Punxsutawney.
We did. We took a trip there, and it was fantastic.
We saw Phil.
We saw Phil.
Yep.
And it was kind of cool to see, and he is not my favorite groundhog anymore, I should say.
Well, where else are there groundhogs that we like to watch?
So, Phil unfortunately predicted 6 more weeks of winter. So
Brr,
right.
Yeah.
So he did see his shadow this morning, and so I am kind of a fan now of Staten Island Chuck, because Staten Island Chuck predicts that we are gonna be going into spring early.
And the reason he's called Staten Island Chuck is because a groundhog is also known as a woodchuck.
Yeah, and if you look up their predictability, I don't know why Phil is a little bit more popular, because accuracy, Staten Island Chuck is actually more accurate. So I'm going to go with him and believe that we are going to have an early spring. Who are you believing?
I think early spring would be wonderful. As you see, this is a fireside chat. It's still winter, and we have our fireplace roaring. However, it's the beginning of February, and we can see spring right around the corner.
I'm hoping, here's hoping that Chuck is correct, but you guys can go along with us, and we'll see which groundhog is correct this year.
Yes, and last night we had a wonderful Hallmark. It was fun. It was enjoyable to watch. There were laughs in the Hallmark, and it featured 2 wonderful Hallmark actors.
You couldn't be more right, Dan.
Yes.
We have begun Hallmark's annual month of February, or like they like to call it, Love-uary.
Well, Valentine's Day is coming real rapidly.
So their first movie of the month was called An Unexpected Valentine. And I thought this title was perfect for this feature.
Well, it was very well written and very well directed, and it featured Lacey Chabert and also Robert Buckley. And both of these actors are well known to Hallmark, but tell us about the times they've appeared together.
I don't think they have appeared together.
Never. Yes, in all of Hallmark's millions of films, I exaggerate, they have been stars, and they have led the way for Hallmark, but they've never played a part opposite each other.
Yeah, I was looking, and you were too, and then you read that the reason Robert Buckley really jumped on this part was to play opposite Lacey.
Oh yes, I mean, they're both professionals. They're both widely known not only to Hallmark fans, but they're also known for other acts that they've been in, and they were tremendous with each other, watching the chemistry that they portrayed, and it was fun to watch.
It was, and I thought their chemistry was phenomenal. Like, they've acted together so many times.
It was a fun evening, and the play took place in New York City, and you saw the Empire State Building and Times Square, and you saw the Chrysler Building, and it was about an Uber driver, and we all know about Uber drivers that they're really very, very pleasant, nice people to work with, and it was about one of their rides that they were giving, and the theme of the play, the theme of the show was so exciting to watch. And I think that's what made this such a great Hallmark last night?
From the beginning, I believe it brought us in. It
Yes.
captured our attention. Just from the beginning, I loved how Robert Buckley, we're watching Lacey in her production. She played Hannah, who
Yes.
was an inventor of different types of chocolate profiles for a company.
Yes.
So a recipe developer for a chocolate company, which seems like a phenomenal job if you ask me, but we found out she does not like chocolate, or has like a little bit of allergy to chocolate, which is quite funny. But so in her job, she creates, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, because Hallmark has like a partnership with Bissinger's chocolate, and I do believe Bissinger should create this product, which is the purses and their chocolate, because
Right.
who wouldn't buy chocolates in a little
That's
purse?
Bissinger's, whose home is in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a fine chocolate company.
Absolutely, and they should be creating this product line featured in this phenomenal presentation, because it was outstanding to see the different flavors.
And Robert Buckley portrayed Finn, who was an Uber driver, but in reality, his love of life was photography.
Yeah, so I love that they brought them kind of together in the beginning, not knowingly, where he was making a delivery, right? And so at first you heard his voice, if you knew his voice, that he was delivering this balloon bouquet. And I knew that was his voice because I've seen him before. And then we find out it was him, but that was their first interaction unknowingly. And then we established that was him later. But I love it. And that's where the unexpected Valentine of these two characters that really have a dislike of Valentine's Day.
And they also had rebounded back from their love life that seemed to have been fizzled.
Yeah.
And they rekindled a love life of respect and of playfulness.
Oh, so much
between
playfulness.
them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it was so much fun through this adventure. So the ride, the Uber ride, became like an adventure of all these different stops that brought so much fun to finding love again.
Yes. And what was so much fun was that they were total strangers.
Yeah.
And they developed a relationship in one evening.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch and was plausible. I mean, this could happen.
Well, and think about it. So when you're in a random car ride, and anybody who maybe drives a ride share may understand this. I don't know, but I've been in a ride share, and you kind of spark conversation with random strangers you think you'll never see again.
Yes, that's
because
what happened.
you feel like you can tell them anything. They're not going to see you again, and so that's what this is. You feel like you can talk to a stranger and share things because you're not going to see them again, and that's what happens. And then something happens. They find this ring, and they want to
They
give
find
a
an engagement ring.
and they want to find the owner because it's Valentine's Day, and they don't want that person to miss their moment.
And you know, it's very interesting that somebody dropped a little engagement ring container or left it behind, and we've all left things behind in cabs and in the ride services, Lyft and Uber, and you wonder what happens to them.
Exactly. Yes. And this is someone who actually cared enough to figure out who it belonged to and went on an adventure to find it. And through the adventure, we made pizza, we made cookies, we did all these fun events. It was so much fun.
But we'll leave that to our audience.
This is a must-see.
Yeah,
Don't you agree?
To watch and see. But what else is happening tonight?
So tonight, I believe, are the Grammys.
The Grammys are on tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it should be exciting to watch. Beyonce and Taylor Swift and all of the wonderful singers and personality, so we can watch in our TV set and see them.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they, what they do, and if they bring down the amount of celebrity and stuff to it due to, I think, due to the fires and stuff. I think they're planning on low-keying it a little bit.
Well, they are, but they're also honoring the firefighters
Yeah.
and the first responders,
Which I think is wonderful.
and also the poor people who lost their homes.
Absolutely.
But it should be a fun evening, and we enjoyed this week's Hallmark.
It was amazing.
It was a wonderful film, and we encourage all our listeners to watch if you haven't seen it, and you'll see how exciting and how captivating that film is. Remember, it was filmed about New York City, and it was supposed to take place in New York City, but if you look at the picture, you'll see that the street scenes that they portrayed were not in New York City.
Yeah, I think they were filmed probably in Canada
They
somewhere.
were filmed in Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
Yeah, so you get a view of Vancouver as well as New York City. But it was a great film, a great movie, a pleasant night, and we encourage you to review and enjoy Hallmark as Jordana and I have.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to say?
No, so next week
Yes.
we have The Wish Swap. And this one stars Emily Tennant and Jake Foy. And this one
That's
is about two different people celebrating their birthdays at the same restaurant, and they happen to make their wish at the same time, and their wishes get swapped. So they both get granted, but they get each other's wishes. So that one
It's sweet.
seems
So-
to be an exciting kind of
Well,
different movie.
Since the beginning of the year, Hallmark's writers and their movies have been so exceptional.
Yeah.
And so full of fun and enjoyment that we have really enjoyed bringing this to our audience and share with them that they should not miss a Hallmark on Saturday night. And to make time, it's 2 hours, enjoy the Hallmark right before Saturday Night Live. And that's what we do.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. And we love also this partnership with Bissinger's because we've already purchased our Hallmark Valentine's Day variety box, and the Cupids are back. They weren't on their website a couple weeks ago, and I was so excited. They are back, and I love the Cupids from the original movie that where when you eat a Cupid, you should find your person. So those are back. So did buy those again, and we'll be able to share them with you on our review coming up.
Absolutely.
So hopefully that is it. And
until next week,
absolutely.
we'll wish everybody a wonderful week. Take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones.
Have a great one, everybody.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.